So this chart looks a little different than what we've been doing, but it's the same thing, it's just in a different format. We're just converting each fraction, decimal, or percent to the other ones. So starting with this fraction right here, 7/8. How do I change the 7/8 to a decimal? We're going to use our calculator, right? And we're just going to type into the calculator 7 divided by 8. Make sure that you put that in your work. Just put it in the box here. You can put it in the box over here if you want. I like it over here better because it's showing how I got the decimal, but as long as you have it somewhere, that's okay. So we're typing into our calculator 7 divided by 8, and that's going to give us what? 0.875. Okay, so that's your decimal. If your work is kind of getting in the way and maybe it's hard to tell what's your answer and what's not, it wouldn't be a bad idea to put a box around it. Although since we're in a chart here, just make sure that's clear in the box and you don't necessarily have to box your answer here. How about the percent? How do we change that decimal to a percent or the fraction to a percent? I can use either one of these really if I want. Which would it be easier to do? 7/8 to a percent or 0.875 to a percent? Taylor? Yeah, we can just take that decimal. Remember, if you're changing a fraction to a percent, the first thing we do is change it to a decimal anyway. So Taylor, what are we going to do with that 0.875? Exactly. So we're going to take the decimal that we had, 0.875, and we're going to multiply that by 100% to change it to a percent. And Taylor, when we do that, what do we get? Good. In the next row, we have a percent, and we want to change it to the other two. Now, it really doesn't matter which one we do first. I'll let you guys decide which one we want to do first. So we want to change it to a fraction first or decimal first? Decimal? Okay. How do we change a percent into a decimal? I'll give you a hint. We multiplied by 100 to go from here to here. So we're going to divide by 100. So we're going to take the 55% and we're going to divide by 100, or really 100%. You don't have to put the percent here. And when we do that, what is 55 divided by 100? 0.55. Remember, since there is nothing in the ones place here, we need to make sure we put the 0 there. We keep that 0 in there to hold the ones place. All right, so we get 0.55 there. You could also do that by taking the decimal here that's after that last 5 and doing what with it? Moving it to the left twice. All right, if you do it that way, just make sure that you're showing that. How about the fraction? I could really use either one of these, but I like the percent better. How do I change a percent into a fraction? What does percent mean?
Out of 100.
It means out of 100, right? So how do we write 55 out of 100 as a fraction? 55 out of 100. Okay, so we're going to have 55 on top and 100 on the bottom. And that's it, right? That changes it to a fraction. Now we're not done, because what do I need to do? We need to reduce it. All right, make sure that you're showing all of your work here. For something like this, you need to write 55 over 100 before you reduce it and give your final answer. All right, in this case, can we reduce by 2?
No.
Can we reduce by 5? Yes. So reducing by 5 gives us what? 11 over 20. We have a decimal, 0.256, and we want to change it to a percent here and to a fraction here. Which one do you guys want to do first? The percent? Let's do the percent first. How do I change a decimal into a percent? We've already done this, right? We multiply by 100. So there's two ways we can do it. We could just type into our calculator 0.256 times 100. And that'll give us our answer, which is 25.6%. Or the other way I could do this is using the decimal. What would I do with the decimal here to change it into a percent? 3 places to the right? 2 places to the right. We're multiplying by 100, so we move it 1, 2 places, and it ends up between the 5 and the 6 there. So we would get the same answer we did here. Okay, how about changing to a fraction? I could, if I wanted to, use this percent and write it as 25.6 over 100. Why is that not good? If I had 25.6 over 100, what's wrong with that? Let me write that down, but you shouldn't write this down. Let's say I use that percent. 25.6% means 25.6 over 100. What's wrong with this fraction? It has a decimal in it, right? We don't want fractions that have decimals in it because then we're mixing 2 different types of numbers together. So this one isn't good. So rather than using the percent to change it to a fraction, let's use the decimal to change it to a fraction. And it's not going to look a whole lot different, except what place value is this last digit in? That's in the thousandths place, right? So we're going to get 256 over 1,000. All right, can I reduce this by 2? Yes. 256 divided by 2 is 128, and 1,000 divided by 2 is 500. Can I reduce that again?
Yeah. What year?
Yeah, I had a 5 there. I meant to have an 8. So 128 and 500, those are both divisible by 2, aren't they? So we'll reduce by 2 again. 128 divided by 2.
64.
And 500 divided by 2. Okay, am I done?
No.
Not quite, right? I can reduce by what?
2.
I can reduce by 2 again. $64 divided by 2 is?
32.
And 250 divided by 2 is?
125.
125. Okay, now am I done?
Yes.
Why?
Because there's nothing there's multiple by 2 and 5.
Yeah. So I could reduce the top by 2 but not the bottom, and I could reduce the bottom by 5 but not the top. So we're done.